All right, so we're solving by square roots. This is 4C number 3 practice. So all of 4C is how to solve quadratic equations. So this is all about order of operations and doing the reverse order of operations. So if you have addition or subtraction, you take care of that first, then multiplication, division, then exponents. If they're on the outside of parentheses, then parentheses, you start over order of operations inside of those again. So let's get started. So number 13, you first is to add 10. And that's 144. Then you divide by 9. 144 divided by 9. Let's see if that actually simplifies down. I believe it does. 144 divided by 9 is 16. I'm going to carry this up top here. So we have 9 squared equals 16. When we square root, that's the opposite of square. Anytime you square root, there's a positive and negative answer. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So square root of 16 is a perfect square. That's 4. So if you're thinking about square and square root, and then why is there a plus minus? 4 squared is 16, and negative 4 squared is 16. So when you take the square root of 16, you get a positive and a negative because both of them squared will equal 16. All right, number 14. So we're going to subtract 9. These problems are very straightforward once you get the hang of them. Not a whole lot of difference between them. Here we have m squared equals a fraction 4 over 25. Now when you square root m squared and square root, again when you square root you get a plus minus. I'm going to carry this up top so we can see it a little bit better. You get m equals square root of, so plus minus the square root of 4 over 25. The square roots will go to the numerator and the denominator, and just simplify them separately. So equals square root of 4, it happens to be a perfect square. 2 and square root of 25 is 5. So your answer is a positive 2/5 and a negative 2/5. Number 15. So we're going to add 4. 252 divided by 7. Divided by 7, 252. I'm going to do that on my calculator because I don't know off the top of my head what 252 divided by 7 is. And that's 36. So we get p squared equals 36. When you square root, do not forget the plus minus. There's always a plus minus, and you can bet on any test, always have that. And square root of 36 is 6. So you have a positive 6 and a negative 6. Any test is going to have, your answers have to be, there's 2 answers. Any quadratic has 2 answers as a solution. All right, number 16, we have negative subtract 5. Divide by 9. Here we got a fraction, 1/9. That doesn't exactly work out. That's a fraction, can't simplify it. But we still can square root. This is very similar to number 14. When you square root, you get positive, negative. And square root of 1 over square root of 9. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 9 is 3. So you have a positive plus minus 1/3. You have a positive 1/3 and a negative 1/3. All right, number 17. I think we're going to start getting into some different types of problems. They look very similar, but you're going to end up with different types of answers. So you add 2 first. Divide by 5. 220 divided by 5 is 44. And then when you square root v squared and 44, you get the plus minus. Carrying it over, you get v equals a positive negative square root of 44. Anytime you have a square root of a number, you have to see, can you break it down and simplify that square root? So we're going back to simplifying square roots. And we have a pair of 2's here, so we can simplify it. So you're going to get v equals a positive negative. 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. And that's why a pair will come out as just 1, 2. And square root of 11 is left over. So we have plus a positive 2 squared 11 and a negative 2 squared 11. Those are your answers there. All right, looking at number 19. You have a subtraction, you have a multiplication, you have a square, and then we have parentheses. So we're doing reverse order of operations. So again, Should be adding 8 first. Then take care of your division. Divide by 6. X plus 5 squared equals 6. All right, now if we square root, you get x plus 5. We can drop the parentheses because the parentheses are only there because of the square. There's no other multiplication or anything on the outside of it, a negative on the left side. We have a plus minus square root of 6. The only other operation we have to do is subtract 5. So square root of 6 is a real number and 5 is a real number, but you cannot, square root of 6 is irrational, and subtracting a rational number doesn't really work out. So we're going to leave it like this, or you can move that negative minus 5 to the front, and so it'll be negative 5 plus minus the square root of 6. That bottom way looks a little bit cleaner. The only thing is you have to be careful with the top of the square root over the 6 to make sure you're not covering up the minus 5 because it's on the outside. You subtract 5 after you take the square root of 6 if you were going to estimate this. But this is an exact answer. All right. Number 20. First thing, let's see, we have a positive 5. There's a plus here, so that's going to tell us we're going to have to subtract 5 first. Then we have the square, then we have the parentheses, and then inside parentheses, we're going to have to start order of operations over again. So let's take care of minus 5 first. It's a positive, so that's important. The parentheses are positive, so we're just going to write 3x plus 2. If it was minus parentheses, it'd be a negative there, and you could put a 1. Square root of both sides to uncover or take care of the opposite operation of the square. So we have 3 plus 2. We don't need the parentheses anymore. Oh, don't forget that plus minus, Mr. Johnson. So you have the plus minus. Square root of 16 is 4. At this point, because we have a positive 4 and a negative 4, I'm going to actually break this up into 2 problems. We have 3x plus 2 equals a positive 4, and 3x plus 2 equals a negative 4. Reason why I'm breaking it up is when you subtract 2 from this part here, this equation, you'd have to figure out how to subtract 2 from 4 and negative 4, and so you'd have to work out 2 different problems anyways to get both your answers. So we get 2, and we get x equals 2/3 is one of our answers. I'll do another color on this other one so we don't get confused. So minus 2, 3x equals negative 6 divided by 3, divided by 3. You get x equals negative 2 also. So those are both your answers. I hope come to class with any questions.